you've always had very interesting views on Asia, and I think your prediction now is that the world is going to revert to what it was before the Western Industrial Revolution, namely an Asian-dominated century. But what I'd like to press you on is, in terms of values, what will Asia bring to the table?
Well, the good news is that the Asians have been civilized for thousands of years. And I think I find it very puzzling that many in the West fear that as the Asian societies become more dominant, that the world in one way or another will become less civilized, less tolerant, and so on and so forth. When in fact, as we live in a planet that is getting smaller and smaller every day, and as we have to handle cultural diversity on a scale that we never had to do, the Asian experience of being able to handle cultural diversity is an enormous asset. And just to give you a simple contrast, okay, the European Union is a very successful example of regional cooperation, but after many decades remains a Christian club. It cannot admit a single non-Christian society into the European Union. By contrast, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which is 500 to 600 million people, has got Christians, Hindus, Muslims, Buddhists, Confucianists, Taoists, Communists. I mean, it's amazing. And so the capacity for the Asians to actually handle diversity and to be tolerant of other cultures is a huge asset as we move into the 21st century.
Absolutely. Let me bring you back to something you said in your very, very interesting speech at lunchtime here, namely the dysfunctionality of, well, you mentioned America in particular. Is there a cure for that in the Western world? Or are we always going to be hostage to the short-termism of electoral democracy?
Well, I believe there is no alternative to democracy as a form of government, and we have to live a democracy. But I think we should become far more self-critical about democracies and acknowledge when they do well. I mean, there are well-run democratic countries. Switzerland is a democracy. It's stable, it's prosperous, it continues to grow. And the United States is a democracy, but the American democracy has become seriously dysfunctional because national policies have been hijacked by small interest groups who then sacrifice the national interests for the interests of a small group of people. For example, you have 25,000 cotton farmers in America, each getting $1 million each, unnecessarily, and as a consequence of it, world cotton prices plunge, West African cotton farmers suffer poverty, and it's all due to one special interest group. Now, in a small interconnected world as we do, if a small special interest group damages the lives of people elsewhere, we should point it out and say, this has to stop.
Absolutely. Kishore MAHBUBANI, thank you very much indeed for that insight. Thank you.
My pleasure.